this all started from, this is going to sound ridiculous. It all started from, for me anyway, it really started to accelerate on Rogan's podcast with Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock. And all this shit is connected, in my opinion, because it's about lies versus truth. Those two people got together because he's a geologist and the other one is, trying to figure out what the hell happened. Where was civilization? Because there was one. It's obviously, none of the dates make sense. So like, obviously, and genealogy now, genetics has now basically proven that we got down to like about 50 people roughly around the younger Dryas impact theory date. Like the stuff you can't even comprehend standing in the middle of a field or in the middle of a valley or on a mountain. Like you can't get it. Like it's too big to comprehend. So you got to like use satellites to see like scabland or, like valleys dug out of bedrock out west everywhere. Well, what can explain that besides either, well, all the ice melted like fucking instantly because you have like across several states all at the same time, maybe you have massive amounts of water moving that are like literally times infinity of the Niagara Falls. You can't even imagine it. If you've seen the YouTube videos of a tsunami or something where people are shooting video of a river, like like that's just 20 feet of water coming from the ocean through like a tributary of a river. Carlson's talking about 1,000 feet of water moving all at once. Well, fuck, there could have been there could have been a civilization here that Philip K. Dick couldn't have even fucking imagined. And it all would have been buried instantly. So you're like, okay, so none of this makes sense anymore. Why are the pyramids so geometrically perfect? How did they do this? Copper tools? Thank you, Egyptologist. I'll make sure and remember that you're a fucking liar. There's no goddamn way. Copper tools. Are you mean to tell me that the only way that it would be even conceivable for me to imagine that there actually was like there's a slave population working on the pyramid of Giza with copper tools? What would you need? 80,000 to move these? How many tons of granite perfectly geometrically carved out of granite, the second hardest material on the planet? You're telling me that they had what? Diamond buzzsaws? Where's the electricity at? Because they're not cutting this shit out with copper. It's not happening. No way. Have you seen the granite vases yet? If you haven't, I would suggest going and looking at that. Google will not steer you wrong there. Some motherfucker carved a vase out of granite several times over. And then if something cracked or if something happened, and this goes all the way down, thank you, Cousin Billy. This goes all the way down to arrowheads that they would carve these things out. And then if something happened to it in the process, they didn't want to, they just toss it. They just toss it, boom, 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 boom. They only wanted things that were perfect. Well, they did have a lot of time on their hands. They didn't have a television. But they had a lot of time on their hands. And it was food or starve. So they carved arrowheads. But why on earth would they multiply that? Would they scale that up to 10,000 ton blocks or whatever? I'm sure that was probably a ridiculous number. It's not a 10,000 ton block, is it? How big was how big is the giant phallic symbol that they carved out and just left there? Like literally the biggest piece of granite ever carved happened, I don't know, could have been, let's see, 3,000 years ago or 12 or longer. Because you can't carbon date rock. So they did that with copper tools. So you're telling me that from basically, so an Egyptian slave scoots out his mom's fucking crotch and drops on the ground, and they hand him some copper tools and tell him to get to work. And then 80 years later, right when he's about to fucking die, he hands off the tools to somebody else because obviously he didn't have time to fuck. So, because they've been carving out, it doesn't make fucking sense. I get so pissed off at this because this all comes together. It all, in my head, it's all the same. It's truth or lies. Are we going to live in truth, or are we going to keep lying to each other? Because, well, think about this. If that's true, an entire population of Egyptians focused on carving a piece of granite out of the earth, of the bedrock that weighed 1,000 tons. I believe in the human being. I believe in the species. I think we are amazing. If we focus on something, we get it done. So that monolith was coming out of the bedrock. Because, hey, listen, Nietzsche, if we encounter paradise, we would ruin it. Just to put our mark on it. So, and that's probably the truest statement ever written. So, we are going to make it happen. So then take the next logical step. If 7+ billion human beings focused on one goal, what could we accomplish? Because right now, look at what we've accomplished. Look at the Empire State Building. That thing's amazing. How the fuck did they build that? There's so many things that we do that I'm blown away. We have a space station. We send satellites up. We do all this cool shit. Well, we used to do cool shit. If you look at some of the buildings, all the buildings that are being built now, this is a different culture. Like, I think we're in the middle of a cultural change. And we just don't realize it because we're still speaking English. But if you go look at the architecture, it's disgusting. Like, we don't make anything beautiful anymore. We've become something else. If you go look at the buildings built, everything built before basically World War II or World War I is amazing. It's beautiful. I want to live there. I want to make out with it. I mean, if I have to take a shit at the Walmart, I kind of feel like, oh, God. But Grand Central Station, fuck yeah. I don't care if there's 8 bums in there. The fucking architecture is beautiful. The aesthetic is amazing. Walmart, not so much. So, what we focus on, we get done. Right now, all we're focused on is money, 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 something of our own creation. I mean, we're not even working with the ground anymore. Everything's automated. Assembly line, as fast as possible. Monetized. What if we just changed? I mean, if you think about it, in the way I've put it, how difficult would it be for human beings to learn how to move things with their mind if we focused on it 100% of the time? How difficult would it be to, I don't know, try to fly? You want to be Superman? Let's focus on it. But no, we focus on stupid shit. Everything's small. It's not Randall Carlson big. It's tiny. It's University of Chicago, economics. It's, numbers. One, and two. Two. What's 2 plus 2? 5? It's whatever I want it to be. Okay. I don't think that helps. You're not really helping. See, if you live in a fantasy world of your own device, corrupted by the glorification of your own compassion, you're not helping anybody. You're hurting the whole species sitting there in your own fucking jism and Doritos, orange dust, watching fucking South Park clips. That's a pretty good description of myself.